A Jewish child, it is often the last books of the Bible to be studied by a Christian. Having a book referred to about 40 times in the New Testament should be of great significance to every Christian. Many New Testament passages, including some key concepts in the Epistle to the Hebrews, cannot be evaluated properly without a clear understanding of their counterparts in the Book of Leviticus. Introduction. The meaning of the title. Leviticus means relating to the Levites. The title given to this book by the translator of the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the Old Testament, and adapted by the Latin Vulgate in the 4th century AD. Since much of this book deals with the responsibility of priests, all who belong to the tribe of Levi, the title is the appropriate one. The Hebrew title for the book is, and he called, Vayikra, referring to the Lord calling to Moses from the tabernacle. The author of the book, 56 times in Leviticus, explicitly stated the Lord gave his laws to his people through Moses. So Moses is a writer of the book of Leviticus. The date of the book is about 1 year after the Exodus from Egypt, which is about 1444 BC. They came out of Egypt about 1446, 45 BC. Yes, sir. You don't have it?
No. He doesn't have it either.
And y'all let me read, don't tell me you ain't got it.
Well, we was there, we don't got it.
Y'all didn't tell me y'all don't got it.
I thought we told you we don't got it.
We thought we did got it.
Okay. Okay. How many don't have it? Raise your hand. Speak now, whoever hold your peace. All right.
Y'all had came later. No, y'all had came later when we started. And I didn't give it to you.
Oh, you gave it at the beginning.
Okay, so y'all were trying to come late this time. Okay. Now, I want you to turn to 1 Kings chapter 6. Keep your finger on Leviticus. All right, I want you to write this down somewhere in your notes. You always have it. 1 Kings chapter 6. Are you there? Verse 1. Write it down. And it came to pass in the what? On the 80th year after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign. Now Solomon began to reign right down 970 BC. BC. He reigned 4 years, which you're going to subtract 4 from 970. It's going to give you what? 9 what?
966.
966. And it says it came about after the 480th year. So you're going to add 480 to 966. Tell me what you come up with. 480 plus 966.
1446.
That's the date of the Exodus. That's the year they came out of Egypt. 1446 BC. This is how we date pretty accurately some of the events of the Bible. Is called the 1 Kings 6:1. Okay? Now, how was Moses when he died? How was it when he brought Israel out of Egypt? Huh? 80. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So add 80 to 1446. What do you come up with?
1526.
That's the year of Moses' birth. born in 1426, 25 BC. We can date events pretty accurately in the Bible up to Abraham. Once you get before Abraham, it get kind of tricky.
So you just add the 80 to 1446?
Yeah, because they're high and you're coming down. That's free. 15 what? 1526. It should be 26, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
1526.
You get 46.
1526, old man.
That's when it came out of Egypt, 1446 out of Egypt.
Right.
I want to make sure my addition, come on in. And my addition was correct. All right. So give or take 1446, 1445 BC. That's why we always say 1446, 1445. But some overlap a little bit. And that's when the date of the Exodus. Okay. Now, letter D. Here goes Pastor Sam back there. Pass it back to Pastor Sam. Give it to the next page coming right there. All right. The relation of Exodus to Leviticus. Leviticus complements the book of Exodus. Letter D on the front page. So Leviticus complements the book of Exodus as an advanced story of the Old Testament. However, the purpose of it is twofold: to teach the nation of Israel the way to God, and to teach them how to walk with God, how to get right with God, and how to stay right with God. This book was given to direct Israel to live as a holy nation in fellowship with a holy God. Leviticus tells us how sinful people can approach a holy God and how they can live holy lives. Here's some of the themes of the book: holiness. The clear theme of Leviticus is holiness. Look at Leviticus chapter 11, verse 44 and 45. Leviticus chapter 11. Verse 44. For I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore consecrate yourself. You shall be holy, for I am holy. You shall you defile yourselves with any creeping thing that creeps on the earth. For I am the Lord who brings you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy. Now Peter, in 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 15 and 16, repeats this. The believer. So we're to be holy because people become like the God they serve.
What was that? First Peter what?
Chapter 1, verses 15 and 16. Let's turn to 1 Peter so nice. There you go, verse. 1 Peter chapter 1. Verse 15. But as he was called you is holy, be also holy in all your manner of life, that is your conduct of behavior, because it is written, be holy, for I am holy. Let's turn to Romans chapter 2 for a moment in light of what we've been talking about. Romans chapter 2. Look at verse 21. You therefore teach another, don't you also teach yourself? You preach that a man should not steal. Do you steal?
No.
You say thou shalt not commit adultery. Do you commit adultery? You who detest idols, do you rob temples? You who make boast in the law, do you dishonor it? Honor God through the breaking of the law? For the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles because of you. So what he's saying here is this, that people really become like the God they serve.
Right.
And God wants us to represent him the way he is. He's a holy God.
Amen.
So back to your note. So it teaches that one must approach a holy God on the basis of sacrifice and priestly mediation, and that one can only walk with a holy God on the basis of sanctification and obedience. This theme of holiness is certainly applicable to Christians today. The command, you should be holy for the Lord your God am holy. And Leviticus 19:2 was used by Peter in his instruction that we just read in 1:15-16. That's one of the major things in the book, is holiness. Without such, no man can see the Lord. So that's why God got to clean us up at the rapture. So he can present to the Father a church without spot or wrinkle. So right now we got a lot of wrinkles and spots in the church. You got to get some shout out. The another theme in the book is sacrifice. Leviticus details in great depth the sacrificial system of Israel. 5 major sacrifices and their regulations are described. Though salvation does not come through sacrifice, the sacrifices were God's ordained way of approaching him during the era of the Mosaic covenant. The sacrifice also revealed the seriousness of sin and the necessity of a substitute to pay for sin. So the Old Testament approached God by way of sacrifice. The animal was a substitute that they used for the worshiper. Okay, you don't get saved through sacrifice. Okay? But the sacrifice is a way that you can approach a holy God. Another thing is the presence of God. God is always present with Israel in a real way. And on occasion, his presence becomes both visible and tangible. This idea is expressed times without number in Leviticus. And enduring the presence of God is one of the theological presuppositions running through the whole book. Okay. Presence of God. God is always present in a real way. And he always wanted to be among his people. So we talk about Leviticus, talking about fellowship. How can I fellowship with a holy God? So you got these sub-themes here in worship. The laws of sacrifice are to say repeatedly that the ceremonies take place before the Lord, and the food offerings make a soothing aroma to God. Okay? In the mundane duties of life, the whole of man's life must be lived out in the presence of God. The recurring refrain in the later chapters, I am the Lord your God, reminds the people of Israel that every aspect of their life, religion, sex, relation with neighbors, is a concern to their covenant redeemer. Every aspect of our life is a concern to God. And then in the tabernacle, God's visible presence in the tabernacle was at the heart of the covenant. Again, God always wanted to dwell among his people. That's why he had the tabernacle at the center of the camp. The 12 tribes made a rectangular circle around the camp. And in the camp was the tabernacle. The center right there was the tabernacle. Because God always wanted to be in the center of his people's lives. What about the theological significance of the sacrifice? The institution of sacrificial systems led to the following question. Was the sacrifice necessary for salvation? If so, how does this fit with the salvation by grace alone? And number 2, was salvation by works in the Old Testament or by grace in the New Testament? And by grace in the New Testament. Did the Old Testament sacrifice actually atone for sin, or did it just cover sin? The following points have answered these questions. These are some of the things that dogged people for years. How did people in the Old Testament get saved? We know how to get saved in the New Testament. But how did they get saved in the Old Testament? Well, here's the thing on page 39. Salvation in any era has always been by grace. Noah found favor, grace, in the eyes of the Lord. Which tells me, I don't know what it said to you, but it tells me that Noah deserved to be in the flood like all the rest of the folks. That what tells me. He didn't deserve to be spared. But God spared him. So he was obedient. Romans 3:20, for by the works of the law, no flesh shall be justified in his sight. So you can't work to get to heaven. And then you can do the work to get to heaven. Okay. You know, that's a popular teaching in churches today. It's been around a long time, ain't it? It started. You know. I hear a lot of that from us. You gotta do this. You going to heaven, you gotta do this. They tell you everything to do but believe. Man, he just told them folks how to go to hell. That's what he just told them. Yeah. He didn't tell them how to get to heaven. No flesh shall be justified by the works of the law. You can't be declared righteous by doing something. Living right, giving, tithe, a bunch of rules. No. God doesn't work like that. Because if you can live right to get to heaven, when you get to heaven, you can say to God, I earned my way up here.
My Lord.
And nobody gonna be able to tell God, I earned my way up here. So salvation has always been by grace and also been through faith. Abraham believed God. It was credited him as righteousness. But notice the content of faith. Ultimately, the content of saving faith in any age must be God and his revelation. That's how he revealed himself in the Bible. The Old Testament believer did not have a personal detailed knowledge of the substitutionary atonement of Christ. He did believe God will forgive him if he offered his sacrifice how? In faith. In faith. Moses never heard of Christ. Adam never heard of Christ. Jeremiah never heard of Christ. Nehemiah never heard of Christ. David never heard of Christ. How did they get saved? They got saved by offering the sacrifice in faith, recognizing their sins and they need God's forgiveness. That's how they did it. Well, how do we get saved today? We get saved by trusting in God's sacrifice of his Son on our behalf for the forgiveness of our sins. That's how we get saved. Faith. Faith in the Old Testament, faith in the New Testament. The only thing different is content. Because remember, if you turn to Hebrews chapter 1, turn to Hebrews chapter 1. Now, I'm spending a little time on this because this is a thorny problem to feel out of the circle. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1 and 2, rather. Someone read those verses.
God, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, after these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the world.
Now notice, God in times past, long ago, spoke in various ways, big, strange words. A little bit of time. He gave Adam a little bit. Huh? He gave Moses a little bit more. He gave Joshua a little bit more than he gave Moses. He gave David a little bit more than he gave Joshua. He gave Jeremiah a little more than he gave David. Huh? He gave Haggai a little bit more than he gave Jeremiah. He gave Matthew a little bit more than he gave Haggai. See, it's progressive. A little bit at a time. That's how Revelation unfolded. A little bit at a time. So the question is, what did Adam have to believe versus what did Matthew have to believe? They had to believe God's revelation, what God said they must believe. And that's what they did. Now,
But, Pastor Reed,
yeah,
on what you just said, then is that the context of progressive revelation that he gave some?
yeah,
It doesn't create a new thought of God, it just reveals different dimensions of more of God.
right. Right. Yeah. God gave this person a little bit, gave this person a little bit more, gave this person a little bit more, gave this person a little bit more, until everything was complete. I tell you Hebrews chapter 10, so we don't get off the feed about the sacrifice. I'm kind of partly a little bit because I don't want you to be uninformed. Summary verses 1 to 4.
For the Lord having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never but these same sacrifices which they offer continually year by year, make those who approach perfect. For then would they not have ceased to be offered? For the worship once purified would have had no more conscience of sin. But in those sacrifices there is a reminder of sin every year. For it is not possible that the blood of a bull and goat could take away sin.
So the sacrifices themselves couldn't take away sin. Huh? What he's saying is this, that the sacrifice of the Old Testament could not take away sin with any finality. As you read Hebrews chapter 10, you'll see that our Lord's sacrifice took it away with finality.
Amen.
Once and for all. That's why he goes on to tell you, verse 9, he takes away the first and he may establish the second. By that will we have been sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ for what? Once for all. Every priest stands ministering daily and offering, repeating the same sacrifice, which can never take away sin. And with the priest's job in the Old Testament time was never finished. He was sinning all the time. You know, they had temple stay busy. Tabernacle stay busy. But this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, what did he do? Because in the tabernacle, one piece of furniture was never there called a chair. You can find no chair in the tabernacle. The priest's job was never finished. But when Jesus offered his sacrifice, what did he do? What you do when you get out of work?
Sit down.
You sit down. That's what he did. He knocked out work. Everything was complete. So faith. Now, back to your notes, number 3. Under the law, sacrifices were the way a person expressed their faith to God. That's key. They were not a means of salvation. Faith found expression in the Old Testament in 2 predominant ways: obedience to the law and worship through what? Sacrifice. In other words, keeping the law was not a means of salvation. It was evidence of faith and a means of participating fully in the blessings of God promised to his theocratic, big word for kingdom people. You will write that down. Theocratic kingdom. God rule, basically. All right. Yes.
Even though the sacrifice was not permanent in the Old Testament, once a person did believe, it was everlasting. It was extended.
Yes. Yes. you know, it was forever like it is today. But they continue to bring sacrifices as a worshiper because they do fail in their daily walk. Like we do 1 John 1:9. Right? Doesn't mean we lost our salvation. Remember Peter in John 13? When Jesus said, I need to wash your feet? Peter said, well, wait a minute now, you don't wash my feet, wash my head and my hands. And Jesus said, he that has been bathed don't need to be bathed again. But your feet need to be washed. All right. So that as you travel through life, your feet get dusty and dirty. So I'm going to wash your feet. You've already been bathed, saved. You don't need to be bathed, saved again. You just need your feet washed as you travel because you get a little dust, a little sin on it as you walk through life. That's all it does. You like that, huh?
I read it this morning.
Did you?
And you just bringing it up.
Okay. Number letter B, the sacrificial system was given to Israel as a means whereby she could maintain a covenant relationship with a holy God and his salvation. The sacrifice enabled people to renew this relationship when it was broken by sin. In doing so, the sacrifices focus on the worshiper's attention on past events and present reality in their salvation. It kept the fact that, hey, listen, yes, I'm saved, but my walk needs to be consistent too. Amen. Follow what I'm saying? You see, you know, when you say Christ is your Savior, you're saved forever. You can't get unsaved. You can't lose your salvation.
Amen.
Please get that in your head. In your heart. You can't lose your salvation. Because God didn't leave it with you. He left it with you. You knew you'd lose it. You left it with Jesus. Colossians chapter 3, verses 1 to 3. Jesus is going to bring you a new life with him. You ever lost your keys?
Yeah.
You look for them. Good, one of the keys. They go looking for them. Right? Can you imagine God left his salvation with you? You lose it like you lose your keys. Yes, sir.
So with our position in the body of Christ also substantiates there is no way that we can go to hell because we're in position in the body of Christ.
It is absolutely impossible for a person who has accepted Christ as his or her Savior to go to hell. It is absolutely impossible. And if you do, you got a right to tell God you lied to me. Because I believe your word.
I was just using that our new position.
Yes.
In Christ as our whole.
Absolutely. There's no threat of hell for a believer. Therefore now, there's now no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus. The threat of hell is gone forever. So when you close your eyes, the moment you close your eyes, you open your eyes in heaven.
So they say we lose our salvation. That's exactly what they're saying. We're on the way to hell. You know what I'm saying?
That's what they're saying. They also call God a liar.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
That really cheapens the sacrifice to God,
It does.
Jesus Christ. A person says, I can lose my salvation.
My friend died at halftime at the game this past Monday night. At his home. So the wife told me this morning. And before she could call anybody, ambulance or whatever, by the time they got there, he was already spent 10 to 20 minutes ago. Because the moment he closed his eyes in death, he opened his eyes in death. It happened so fast. And that's the reality. That's why when the body comes to the church, that's the body. That's in the house. You're going to take the body to the what?
Right.
The cemetery. You know we get the word dormitory from cemetery? Y'all know that? The word for cemetery is the word for dormitory. Yeah, I stayed in the dormitory. But I couldn't stay there forever. I had to get up out of there. The cemetery is yours, my dormitory. The body can't stay there forever. You gotta get up out of there. Hold my meat.
But really, is there any way to help those persons that believe out of somewhere in the book of Hebrews? I take it as a misreading or something, that they think that we're saving, our activities save us. And I think our activities should be a reflection of our trust in who has saved us. So I use the term all the time, we choose every day, every decision, one choice at a time. I choose to reflect Christ. Or I choose to obey or go my way. But it doesn't take from my salvation. It may impact my witness with someone else and my reward, but it doesn't take from my salvation. You just have to leave them where they are.
It doesn't matter. How bad one's child is or becomes. It still gets out.
That's right.
Right? You may be embarrassed by them. Or somebody else, whose child is that? That's my boy. You know why? Because they were born into your family. When you're born in God's family, sometimes people ask the Lord, whose child is that? God said, yeah, he mine. He don't act like mine, but he mine. All strings are attached when you are saved. You can't lose it because you're kept by God's power. I don't keep myself saved.
Amen.
1 Peter 1:5 says, I'm kept by the power of God. God keeps me saved. That's his job. My job is not to keep me saved. My job is to reflect the salvation that God has given me. Can I be a good witness as his child? Someone said, now your child ought to look like you sometime. So salvation, sacrificial system wasn't the means by which they got saved. It helped them to maintain a fellowship with it. Remember now, if you keep this little tidbit in mind, the Bible was written to believers, not unbelievers.
Amen.
That's right.
You just keep that little tidbit in mind so when you read it, you know it's talking to believers.
Amen.
And it's showing you some stuff about unbelievers to help you say, don't make these mistakes. That's what it's doing. Number 4, real forgiveness was granted to those who offered their sacrifices in what? Faith. The vision of real sacrifice only covered sin and fails to do justice to the real forgiveness that was granted. God did not cover their sin. Those people felt forgiven. He didn't save them on credit. You find some preacher that want to argue me down. Got saved on credit. What kind of credit? What are you saying until Jesus came? All they're saying is that in the Old Testament, people got saved. They knew they were saved. And they were saved forever, and they were forgiven. Okay? But Jesus' sacrifice brought final and full forgiveness. That's what he's talking about. That's why the Hebrews talked about sacrifices and offerings, the body that I prepared for you.
Amen.
God became a man to do what man can do on his own. So this idea to cover sin that the sacrificial atonement merely covered sin without in some sense removing it, found this important the etymology of the Hebrew word for atonement. You know, the word kafar. Kafar. Sometimes in some texts it doesn't mean to cover. And so they oppose that definition. So, but it offers me expiation to remove, completely to remove. So rather sacrificial atonement involved the actual removal of guilt and punishment for the particular sins involved. It is not correct to say that because the blood of animals could not remove sin, the believing Israelites did not have full forgiveness or a genuine sense of forgiveness. Believing Israelites did enjoy the forgiveness of sins, but they had the sure word from God that they would be forgiven. It shall be forgiven him. Open up in Leviticus, you're going to see that. It shall be forgiven him. I rather believe God than what somebody else said.
Amen.
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 Number 5. The sacrifices were limited in scope to certain kinds of personal sins. Theologically, they did not atone for the sin nature or the imputed sin of Adam. Nor they include willful acts of sin which were committed in defiance of God. He didn't change his sin nature any more than the death of Christ changed ours right now. God didn't change it, he gave you a new nature.
Amen.
When you got saved. He didn't change your heart, he gave you a new one. Not a new organ, but a new orientation and disposition toward life. Number 6, Levitical sacrifice is not a complete and final scheme whereby all forms of sin could be removed. It was mainly concerned with sins of ignorance, accident, carelessness, omission, including the sins of ritual defilement, misdemeanors that violated property rights, sins which there was no individual sacrifice, but those done in defiance of the Lord, his command, willful violation of the Ten Commandments, willful disregard for ceremonial regulation, any other violation of the covenant between Israel and the Lord. Such sins could be immediately forgiven only on the basis of unqualified grace and response to faith and repentance. Otherwise, they awaited the cleansing day of atonement ritual. Sin of the high hand is the sin of the clenched fist. You know, the sin of the high hand is the sin of rebellion. You know it's wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. And notice number 7, sins of the sacrifice is limited to the covenant people of Israel. Number 8, the sacrifice is limited in scope and duration to one sin per sacrifice. Forgiveness granted was real, though temporary, in the sense that each sin required another sacrifice. That's why God accepted the sacrifice for removing guilt in the case of the sin being dealt with. Such temporary state of divine wrath did not result in permanent purging of one's conscience. You know, even now, we still sin, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anybody here don't sin, stand up. When you stand up, you just sin. So
do you think that a person who has been given a new heart or a new disposition, has been born again, can know that they're sinning against God, know that what they're doing is a violation of all that he stands for? Do you think that person could do that, a saved person to just stand up and ball his feet up at God, and that person that deceived to think that he's saved? What's your thoughts on that?
my thoughts is, my thought is that most of the sin you and I commit, we already know what we're doing wrong.
Okay, okay.
Most of our sins are not sins of ignorance. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Amen.
Sometimes we say, Lord, let me take care of this. You're too slow, Jesus. Let me take care of it. Yeah, we do that. And one of the willful sins that people do, Christians do, they don't realize, It's in the high hand. It's abandoning church. Did you know that? Abandoning the church.
Oh.
Don't come to church. That's a powerful sin that God hates. So let me end with that. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24. In light of what we've been talking about this morning. Hebrews chapter 10. Start at verse 24. And look at what the word of the Lord says. Let us consider one another in order to stir up the love and good works. The word stir up, it means to start a fire. Now, both of us cold in the high. Somebody turn the heat on. Don't seem to be waiting on you to turn the heat on. Why don't you go do it? You know, you there first, turn the heat on. Right? He said, let us consider. We need to think of ways before we get to church how we can inspire people to love and good works. One of the ways we did not be forsaken of our sin of ourselves together, as the habit of some is. Some already started. Stop going to church. But exhorting one another, so much more as you see today coming. The Lord's coming real soon. So what I need to do is be about trying to encourage my brothers and my sisters in Christ to be faithful to church. And one way I can do that is for me to be faithful to church.
Amen. Amen.
Fall. That's a continuation of fall. If we sin high, that's a clenched fist. After we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remains no longer what? But a certain fearful judgment, fiery indignation, which devour our adversary. Which will devour our adversary. Talking to believers. He's saying, listen, you can go to church and you don't go. You're selfish. Because you're thinking about yourself. And you're sitting with the high hand. And when you are not at church, when you can be at church, and you go out there in the street, going to Crossroads, and you get into an accident, and you call on me to come to your aid, I'm not there because I'm at church with my people.
Amen. Amen.
You own your own. And I don't want to be nowhere where I can't get a hold of God.
Amen. Amen.
And that's something that people don't realize is a very serious thing. Church is for the encouragement of the fellowship of the saints of God to worship Him together. And when I'm not there, because I don't want to go, I got something else I want to do. I'm not thinking about my brothers and sisters who may be discouraged, who come through that door looking for me, and I'm not in place.
Amen.
But when they come and they see me, they're discouraged, and they see me there, they go, man, read him. He hanging in here too. I'm going to hold on a little longer myself. So you never know, your presence encourages people. It's called the ministry of presence. We don't believe sometimes how the ministry of presence can help people. You know, they go to your church and Sunday school, ain't but 2 people there. The teacher and one person. Here's a visitor coming in from California. Discouraged. They saw your church come in and you ain't there. They get discouraged. Oh, she ain't with one person. They ain't coming back. But what if they came and saw 100 people there? They'll be encouraged. And they'll stay and learn the lesson. See, That's why a lot of saints don't realize how important the church is in the life of themselves and other brothers and sisters in Christ who will be beat up and beaten down by the world. Your presence can be the difference. And sometimes your presence can be a life and death situation.
Amen.
That's why some of them saints that show up and they be hurt, but they show up. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You walk in the door, you just good. And you see sister so-and-so, brother so-and-so. Now he can do that. And he got one leg. I got both of mine. I'm going to be like him. See? That's what encouraged.
Brother Reed, I got this question. I hate to just keep asking this question, but does that apply if I can go to my doctor's appointment? Do I have to put on my cowboy boots and tailor-made suit to go to church, or can I just slip on my bedroom shoes and
Let me answer that.
and decent, comfortable warm-ups and attend church?
Yeah.
Because I can't wear my church hat and spike heels. And I keep all my doctor's appointments and even stop by the store after I leave the doctor.
Yeah, because I'm so glad that when you get to heaven, you can't wear your clothes.
What you say?
When you get there, God got clothes for you. He gonna clothe you. Now, that doesn't mean we come indecent.
Amen.
It doesn't mean that. But, you know, sometimes we look at people based on their dress. They don't dress particularly sweet. A woman come in with some jeans on. And they're nice, they're not tight, they're just nice. And we look at them like, what they doing there? Y'all dress up in a dress and hat, y'all dress up in a suit. But inside your life, baby,
All right.
this is different.
Pastor,
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Reverend here that, Deacon
Reverend.
here,
Yeah, I was,
Brother.
brother.
Brother Reed, I just gonna say that you dressed up for Saturday Night Live. You ought to dress up for God on Sunday.
Yeah.
When I Saturday Night Live, you were bad. Now why you want to come to the Lord's house yet?
Amen.
Because I was looking at, I like to sit, the Spirit to give me words, and I like to look at like the word hope. And I was telling people one time when, like you said, you walk in service sometime and you look for one person sometime, not just say you look for that person, but you see sister so-and-so, brother so-and-so, and you know they going through, and it makes you feel more hope, say, oh, if they do it, I can do it. So I looked at the word hope, and I said, I wrote it down, H-O-P-E. I said, your hope that you keep coming is for somebody else. It means your hope is it helped other people endure.
Amen.
So when I look at so-and-so, if they did it, that hope you got, keep coming. That the person coming in, your hope keeps me endure.
That's right. Yes.
Expound on the word, on the scripture that says, worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. They use that term beauty. You explained one time, you explained the relation.
The beauty of holiness is talking about a beautiful, holy life. That's how your life is.
The origin of the word beauty, does that have anything to do with anything?
It's when the life is pleasing to God. Doesn't mean you have to come on with diamond rings on and nice watches and steel toe shoes or whatever like that. So you can come with all that, and that's fine. But not worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. See, God looks at the heart. Anyway, we'll pick up the next time. Thank you.